I see here that they listed their general test parameters. The instrumental is tested on 32 women and daily use for 4 weeks. And you're saying the only stat they shared is the spot is clearer after 7 days? All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Chemist Confessions podcast. I'm Gloria.
I'm Victoria.
And this is a human conversation on all the skincare science we talk about on the daily. And today is a continuation of last week's episode. We are going through a bunch of vitamin C serums on the market that has 3-O ethyl ascorbic acid. And yeah, let's dive right in. The contenders here, we have Beauty of Joseon Light on Serum with Centella and Vita C. We also have e.l.f.'s Bright Icon. They just call theirs also vitamin CE Ferulic, which I will say, I'm not picking on them them alone. There's now a lot of vitamin C derivative serums on the market. They'll just say it's a vitamin C serum. So this is definitely a category where we do still believe that you should decode that IL very quickly. I also have here the Numbersin number 5 serum. This one is a straggler. They advertise their glutathione a lot more, but it comes up if you search for popular 3-O ethyl ascorbic acid serum. So just putting that out there.
Some other ones we tried was the Innisfree. This is the green tea enzyme vitamin C brightening serum. Goes all the way down their cute bottle. And then we are also trying the Olay vitamin C and peptides brightening serum. So all of these are honestly very affordable, but the reason why we picked all of these is because they all contain 3-O ethyl. And the goal of this episode is to honestly share and compare notes on, what we like, what we didn't like, our takeaways, and our general recommendations. So we should get right into the aesthetic. All right, Gloria. Thoughts on these thin fluids, except for Beauty of Joseon?
Honestly, I think the aesthetics generally is all over the place. Actually, this is just a category that can be summed up as all over the place. The concentration, all over the place. The hyposarin, all over the place. I'm just going to come out and say right off the bat, Beauty of Joseon probably has my favorite texture. It's a light fluid emulsion. It's pretty hydrating. It has high levels of glycerin, propane-diol. It has 1% panthenol, and 10%, and the core active is 3-O ethyl at 10%. And they have a blend of lightweight oils and silicone, and it goes on like pretty lightweight. I wouldn't say this I have dry skin, so it definitely doesn't replace my moisturizer, but I can see this texture going really well under a sunscreen during the day if you have more oily skin. So it can probably replace a moisturizer in that use scenario.
Yeah, I was gonna add. So yeah, it's an emulsion. I could see this. For me, I don't want to layer another emulsion under a moisturizer. So, but it definitely could work for like more humid climates for oily skin. It is a very clean, very light emulsion. So yeah, that totally makes sense to me. Actually, I have a visual here because we kind of wanted to see how it might age over time. But this should give you an idea of how different the formulation can be for a 3-O ethyl and what you might find. But aside from Beauty of Joseon, which is this one, you can see it's like a lighter lotiony, thicker texture. All of the rest of the ones are like thin serum fluids. So that's kind of what we're going to be comparing today. I will say in terms of the other four, probably the odd one out is the e.l.f. This one is a fascinating formula, Gloria, because the name is CE Ferulic. It wants to smell like CE Ferulic. It wants to look and feel like CE Ferulic. So I find this formula to be so interesting because it honestly is very comparable. And I never thought like, oh, well, I want CE Ferulic in every way except, well, it actually still contains ascorbic acid, but I'd like some 3-O ethyl in there as well. So I thought that was a very strange, surprising concept.
Yeah, so it has the whole gamut. It has 1% tocopherol and 0.5% ferulic acid. Their 15% vitamin C is actually a blend of 3-O ethyl and ascorbic acid with more 3-O ethyl. The actual ratio is unknown, But I'm staring at this like, well, okay, if I want CE Ferulic, I just buy CE Ferulic. Like, why do I want one that's diluted with 3-O-ethyl?
It
I
was
don't
so
know.
fascinating. I was like, I never thought the goal would be to match CE Ferulic texture. Like that's the thing we'd have to convince people like the benefits outweigh the texture and smell of ham. Like it's a fascinating product.
Yeah, and for me, on my skin, I went through a couple different climates with some travel while I was testing this.
Mhm.
During drier days or like cooler days, it's like it's okay. But
Mhm.
even on my dry skin, on more humid days, it gets a little sticky and filmy, just like CE Ferulic. Again, if I
Mhm.
want good hot dog water, I just get the OG hot dog water.
Yeah, so that's Elf, which I fascinating, and then we have the other three, which is Numbersin, Innisfree, and Olay. I will say, formulation wise, they're all quite different. First of all, Olay, the textures are they're all thin fluids. They all absorb pretty quickly. There is some minimal tack, but nothing like your average, nothing compared to like the CE Ferulic tack. So I find these all to be in the same category for sure. Probably the only things to really call out here is that Olay, the general active order, water, glycerin, dimethicone, then you have niacinamide, lactic acid, you have a polyacrylate, and then you have 3-O-ethyl followed by a peptide and panthenol. So the blend is it. Even though they market as like vitamin C, their vitamin C brightening serum, there's definitely other actives at similar levels all within the same realm. So they're really relying on the blend in that one.
Yeah, and that's something that we noticed about this landscape, and hopefully this
Mm.
episode can help you guys, is this is where you should definitely give the ingredient list a scan, because
Mm-hmm.
all 5 of these will come up if you search for ethylated ascorbic acid serum or ethyl ascorbic acid serum, but they are so different. Like, none of them
Yeah.
are similar in terms of support ingredients. None of them
Yeah.
have similar levels of 3-O-ethyl. It's just all
Yeah.
over the place.
Yeah, and to follow that same sentiment, we should then talk about Numbuzin because, like Laura mentioned, they're not claiming it as like a vitamin C. The actives that are actually in there more predominantly is niacinamide, panthenol, and tranexamic acid. But then when you start getting to the bottom of the list, that's when you find 3-O-ethyl along with some of these other ancillary actives, including ascorbic acid and ascorbyl glucoside. So we would say Numbuzin is not going to be the product that you're going to rely on for vitamin C benefits, like hands down. Yeah.
So I noticed something really funky with Numbersin too is on the website, on Amazon, you will see that they claim 5% niacinamide, 5% panthenol, and 4% tranexamic acid. Kind of interesting blend for hyperpigmentation in general. What's interesting is the secret is actually in their Korean IL, which lists way more percentages than what's given. So I pulled those out. They don't call this out on the Amazon sheet, but if you go into the Korean ingredient list, you can actually decode further. They actually called out glutathione at 0.2%. And then they did list 3-O-ethyl at 100 ppm, which translates to
Wowzers.
0.01%.
Wowza.
And here's the kicker, it's a trivitamin C blend because this product also has ascorbic acid and ascorbyl glucoside, which is awesome. Each at 1 ppb. For those of you who...
I always like it's such a noble cause to share such levels, like transparency. And it's like, in a way I appreciate it. But the desire to know, it's like, maybe you don't have to share the ppm or ppb level at that point. But
yes,
yeah, so this is not going to be your vitamin C serum, guys.
No. We're talking about 0.00000. I'm losing count of 0. There's a lot of zeros. 1% of ascorbic acid, ascorbyl glucoside. Talk about cat sneeze worth of vitamin C. So no, we kind of included numbers in this batch just to flag to everyone that this is actually kind of interesting blend of actives, but vitamin serum it is not. So if it comes up in your search, you can disregard its claims as having vitamin C.
Yes. And then finally, as we mentioned before, Innisfree, they have a really unique formula in terms of, they kind of do this unique capsule. Actually, this is a terrible visual, but let me just show you in a better way. I will take, what was I going to do? Never mind. I don't know if you can see it, but you'll see these like almost what looks like little gel capsules of actives in there. So it's a really fun like suspension and visual. The texture is not bad. It's really light. And then in terms of 3-O-ethyl, it comes in at the 5th ingredient. So this will definitely be a lower level 3-O-ethyl serum. It does also come with a kitchen sink worth of actives at the end, but not really going to pay too much attention there. I think the only thing to really note is that, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Does it? No, 3. So 3 of these serums, Olay, Innisfree, and Numbersin, all contain niacinamide. So that's probably the only thing I'd like to point out in terms of the IL. So
also, none of those seem like the niacinamide levels that low. So that's again something just to pay attention to as you layer, or if you have other products that have niacinamide.
Yep. Okay. And with that, Gloria, are there any dry skin notes you'd like to add when we were trialing this?
I think for me, I was generally okay with most of the textures. It didn't make me drier. The only standout I wanted to call out was Beauty of Joseon. It has a lot of hydrators in it. So to me, it's, will I use it to replace my hydrating serum? Probably not for dry days, but on hotter days, yeah, it's probably nice enough for that. But the other ones are just kind of in that neutral zone for me. The only one I actively didn't like the texture for on my dry skin is e.l.f. because it's sticky and not hydrating. So like, I don't, it's like there's no benefit to the stick.
Yeah, and I think I have a theory as we go through more product recs that this type of texture, I think you and I will be a little bit more aligned because like you said, the textures are just going to be more neutral. Again, I'm not trying to use CE Ferulic texture if I ain't getting CE Ferulic benefits. So I think that's probably the only thing that really calls out to me. And then in terms of the 3 Olay, if you're like, I don't know, suddenly find yourself comparing Innisfree, Olay, and Numbersin, which I find to be like in similar realms in terms of serum texture, I feel like texture-wise, Olay and Innisfree are probably the cleaner ones. Numbersin has just a sense of film. It is like very subtle. So I'm really like splitting hairs here, but in terms of texture, that might be the only one that of the 3 that kind of is more filmy that I notice. But
yeah, the other ones are all pretty neutral. Yeah,
exactly. So other than that, we should talk about some clinical testing because there's a little bit there.
Yeah, which like we do appreciate. If you listen to the previous episode, you'll know that Theo Ethel's one where we just kind of did this. Remember, where it's not there's not a lot to go on.
Yeah.
So first things first, I just praise the texture. No clinical. Got the transparent. Got the 10% transparent
3O ethyl.
Yeah, it's got the 10% 3O ethyl. On the IL, sometimes it's listed as water, but on the actual box, their water is Centella Asiatica water. That's some soothing benefits, but the product itself doesn't come with clinicals.
And along those same lines, Numbersin, if you buy it on Amazon, you will find a before and after pic, but very little aside from an interesting before and after pic. So we always like to recommend people like, if all you get is a before and after with no data, like just give that so little value, like just so little. Like and on top of that, the lighting of this before and after is actually not that standardized because you can see like the shine aspect in the lighting is like not quite, you can see that's not like uniform. So I just feel like this doesn't tell us a lot. So that's not really going to be a big factor in us giving this formula brownie points.
Which actually makes me want to jump directly to e.l.f., which is in a similar category where on their website they promote a before after picture. It's actually a very interesting before and after picture in that lighting and positioning is clearly professional and standard. And they did it for a whopping 12 weeks. So they have before 4 weeks, 12 weeks in their pictures to show that some of the blemishes and the what looks like PIH have faded over these 12 weeks. Impressive time point, way longer than the other clinicals we're about to go through. But they only have this BNA. I cannot find the actual data. They clearly did something. They clearly tested it for something.
Why?
So I'm like, there has to be more to this than one before and after picture. So that's one where I'm like,
there must be more.
Yeah, you shouldn't put a lot of weight in one before and after, but this is a really well done before and after. Where's the rest of my data?
Yeah. And then for Olay, man, it's like the lingo they use, they did some testing.
Yeah.
But there's not even a BNA. It's just a line. And it just says, after 1 day of use, you will have skin that looks visibly hydrated. In 1 month, your skin will appear more even and have a healthy, brightened glow. Like, those are specific time points. And like, you're actually, this is considered a claim, which means they have to have tested. It's P&G. They're going to test it, you know, like, so again, it's another one where like, it's just a sentence that you've given us nothing to work with.
It's so funny to me because I wrote down is Olay now harvesting the energy of like manifestation. Like, you will have brighter skin.
Yes.
You will be hydrated. Like, show us the data, something to work with.
It's like the Chandler tries to quit smoking episode.
Yeah.
Like, you are a beautiful, strong independent woman. All right. Okay. So with that, we should talk about the best one, which is Innisfree. Thank you, Innisfree. You gave us something. So they actually did a instrumental clinical study and then a self-assessment. And then it seems like they also shared some like home usage surveys. In terms of instrumental, they only have one data point, but it's totally worthy in this category. So after 7 days, they noted that it will fade dark spots by 45%. So that's one.
I see here that they listed their general test parameters. The instrumental is tested on 32 women and daily use for 4 weeks. And you're saying the only stat they shared is the spot is clearer after 7 days.
Well, Gloria, that's why the text is small. So you don't pick up on that time. Yes, I know. But you know what? It's still one measurement significantly better than the rest of them.
You're right. I feel like the theme of this episode weirdly devolved into where's my data? It's clearly there somewhere. Where's my data?
Yeah. I mean, okay, for what it's worth, they did share their before and afters, which we will also put up on the screen. They show at T0 and then after 4 weeks, so you can see some fading of acne dark spots. So there's that as well, along with their consumer perception data that they share. But I did have some thoughts here. First of all, the price point of these products is very affordable. So yeah. I sometimes feel like, you know, with these products, Gloria and I actually don't expect a ton of clinical data. Okay. Sure. But we'd like some, like even just one measurement, which is why I think I appreciate Innisfree in terms of what they're willing to share. Because as you can see with the rest, you kind of just like not really sure what happened or where did it go. So I did want to share that sentiment. But otherwise, I think to wrap this up, Gloria, out of these 5 that you've been testing, which one would you choose? You did allude to it already, but tell us why. Tell us the full reasoning.
So I think this is very funky, right? We chose these 5 because these will be the 5 that more than likely you'll encounter if you're looking for these types of products. But they turn out to be 5 very different products that, you know, may be chosen for different reasons. I personally would just go with the beauty of Joseon because like it is 3-O-ethyl forward. It's mainly just 10% 3-O-ethyl ascorbic acid. I would just go with this one. It's relatively simple. Some of the other ones have a lot of all these other actives that not all of them I need in my life, but they could be a reason why you go with something else. It has a pleasant texture. It's pretty hydrating. So I think I would choose this for the easy peasy-ness of it. I didn't dislike the Innisfree. I appreciate the clinical. All in all, that texture was very neutral. So neutral that I don't have a reason to reach for it. It's just kind of there.
Yeah. And I think that explains why I would choose Innisfree. You know, again, like I don't need another emulsion in life. I think strictly if I got 10% 3-O-ethyl in a very neutral serum base, like I'd probably be reaching for that. You know, I think out of these 5, in terms of layering, in terms of feeling nothing, and why I would not use CE Ferulic would be just like, oh, if I want a texture improvement, I want layering to feel like nothing. So that would be ultimately my choice. So it would be Innisfree.
For those of you who's on the hunt, how I will place the rest of it is, I think Numbersin, if you're actually curious about that the high niacinamide and tranexamic combination makes it kind of interesting for a pigmentation serum. Don't think about it as a vitamin C serum and you're good. Olay is in that it's fine category. I don't have a lot to say about it. It's probably, I just feel like Olay is one where none of it really stands out. It's kind of too neutral all around for me to, it's like, if you go with it, great. If not, like, I don't think you're missing out on anything either. And the last thing I will say is I actually end up really feeling bleh about the e.l.f. I don't think it's a bad formula. I think it could be for some people, and it seems like they did a clinical, even though they didn't share any of the data. But again, if you are going for this texture, this smell, and this color change, just get CE Ferulic. So that's
or a lower, you know, now they sell 10% ascorbic acid serums. So maybe try that first. And if you're still like I want more vitamin C, maybe there's something there, but yeah, that's how I'd see it.
That's about it. We hope this was helpful. Yay. And we will do this type of comparison 2-episode bundle with THD as well a couple episodes later. We're going to take a break from vitamin C. But let us know what your favorite THD product is so we can add that to our test list and break it down for you guys. And yeah, this sums up this episode.
Hopefully it was helpful, and good luck shopping out there. So we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.